Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We know it is such a busy world out there and you've got lots of options. So I am always honored and humbled when you choose to spend some time here. And I make sure to try and give you some really great value. And today will be no exception. Today we are going to be chatting with Jordan Whelan about effective marketing for law firms. So welcome, Jordan. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you for having me. We were talking about earlier how I absolutely love your whole background aesthetic. It makes me want to just meditate. And I'm a big meditation guy. I just want to zen out and be in that space.
Yeah, and for our listeners, we were laughing because it's like we've swapped. I'm normally super edgy, and Jordan's got the
Mm.
beautiful edgy background here, and I'm in Zen mode. So hopefully we'll find a perfect balance for you listeners. And for those of you who may not know him, Jordan is the founder of Gray Smoke Media. As you can see, you can tell he's a marketing guy, right? And with a background as a TV and radio producer and a publicist, he's managed over 3 billion. And yes, you heard me correctly. That's billion in class action claims communications. He spent a decade mastering media buying, managing over 50 million in spend and digital marketing. And most of us as lawyers, we sort of choke up when we hear about marketing, and it's particularly in today's world, it can seem overwhelming. But under his leadership, Gray Smoke Media has helped Diamond and Diamond lawyers. Certainly for the Canadians in the crowd, you will know them. And I can personally attest as a Canadian that they went from, I've never heard of this firm, to suddenly, oh my God, who the hell are they? They are everywhere. Certainly, they're known as Canada's top injury and real estate law firm. So kudos, frankly, to Jordan for bringing them from obscurity to mega status. And his insights have appeared in over 100 international outlets, whether New York Post, Forbes, some of the big names. So today, get your pad and pens ready or your whatever writing tablet you use to grab some of these nuggets. So first, tell us a little bit about yourself, Jordan, and what made you decide in specializing to work predominantly with lawyers? Because let's face
So
it, not everybody loves working with lawyers.
we were saying earlier, you don't love injury lawyers specifically until you're injured, and then your life gets turned upside down, and it's kind of like they become the most important person in your life.
Yeah.
But my background is meandering. I couldn't have planned it this way. When I was 23 years old, I started working at the biggest talk radio station in Canada, CFRB 1010. Yeah, I was a morning show producer, and then I got into newspaper. I wrote a column. I did a television production. I started to learn about all facets of media
Yeah.
at a time when media was a little bit different than it is now. It's mainstream media is obviously dying right now, and you're having all these little other avenues pop up.
Yeah.
Which I think is a net positive. And I worked and started to realize the value of earned media that they call it free advertising. So I was able to come up with creative angles to get my clients on the 6 o'clock news. There'd be 1 million people watching. But then it kind of grew from there to think like, okay, how can we leverage this in other ways? So for example, if you get someone a media hit in a newspaper, most people don't know this, but usually you'll get a backlink to your website. So they're linking back to you, which is going to boost your SEO.
Yeah.
So I learned about that and I said, oh, that's really cool. I can do A and I can do B. And then the C was, okay, well, what comes up when I search your name on Google? We call that SERPs, page one results. So I realized, oh, if I can boost that on page one, positive press will come up about your firm when I search for you. So that's another facet of marketing called reputation management.
Yeah.
And then I worked with my first client, Diamond and Diamond, and they said, hey, would you be able to do our media buying for us? And I kind of was like, what is that? I never went to school for that. So I started buying media from the media that I was actually getting hits on.
Yeah.
And radio, television, out of home, all these different things. And over the past 12 years working with them and other clients, I'm an autodidact. I essentially just dive right in, and I feel like you can teach yourself anything in 6 months.
Yeah.
And between them and other clients, I've managed a little over $50 million in ad spend.
Yeah.
And I've built this. Gray Smoke Media used to be a generalized marketing firm. And in a way, we do take on all kinds of clients right now. We have a pharmaceutical company. Different people reach out to us for unique fixes. But 2 years ago, I niched down to just work with lawyers because I realized that a lot of law firms treat marketing sort of like it's like a fire alarm. Like they only really are thinking about it when leads go dry, or they come out of law school and they're top of their class and they think that it's going to extend over to marketing and they're going to be great at that too. And what I do really credit Diamond and Diamond with that whole family is that they are highly deferential to individual experts, and they
Yeah.
brought in people who are really great in their spaces, and they
Yeah.
didn't talk over us. And so now I've moved to the United States, and I am growing Gray Smoke Media on this side of the border, also taking
Awesome.
on Canadian clients. But I want to help law firms trying to get out of their own way.
Yeah. You know, and lawyers in particular need that because frankly, I think the old school mentality within the legal profession is that we're above all that. We don't need to, the big names, we don't need to advertise. We don't need media attention. Our reputation speaks for itself and certainly have done ourselves, I think, a disservice over the years. And I got to again just bow down, Jordan. You are like clearly the wonder kid. If you're telling me Diamond and Diamond was one of your first legal firm contacts, like you just knocked it out of the ballpark for sure.
Yeah, well, they were my very first. When I opened Gray Smoke Media, I left a PR firm. They were my first client. The second client was the mayor of Toronto.
Oh,
And so I just dove right in. But I think I just have this go-getter attitude. I've been completely fearless my
clearly.
whole life where I just think, I could do anything. I just need to work
Yeah.
hard.
Which mayor, if you don't mind me asking?
It's John Tory.
Okay, okay, very cool. Good for you. Now, there's so much conflicting information out there about how to get noticed in the profession, which I think is one of the things that stops lawyers dead in their tracks. So let's try to break down some of it, maybe demystify it a bit. So why don't you start with SEO? Like how is it changing? How can we use it effectively? You mentioned it about getting that SEO boost by getting those backlinks, right?
Yeah, so SEO, the overarching term of SEO, a lot of people think that's just Google, right? They think, oh, SEO is just ranking on Google for terms.
Yeah.
But nowadays it extends to everything. So it's the search bar on TikTok, it's a search bar
Yeah.
on YouTube, it's what comes up when I search for you. But largely what SEO is great at and why Google's king is essentially most advertising is quite intrusive, right? I'm driving in my car, your ad blasts when I'm trying to listen to the song I like. Whereas SEO is just a conduit, connects you
Yeah.
with point A to point B, and it captures you at the exact psychological moment of, I want a red couch, I need a red couch, connect me. When it comes to law firms, particularly in the personal injury space, it's very expensive to
Yeah.
pay cost per click on AdWords. I believe in Miami right now, for car accident lawyer, it's $175 a click.
Wow.
So you can
That's
imagine if
up.
you don't have a great AdWords company, that money you can just blow
Yeah.
$2,000 in a day.
Yeah.
So SEO in the personal injury space particularly is very important because you can get the cost per lead way down.
Yeah.
The way I sell SEO for anyone, and it's obviously changing in 2025, and I'll get to that, but the way I really sell it to people is it's not like we are trying to create something, right? If I'm in the space of, let's say, I'm in a car insurance company, there may already be 250,000 searches per month in my geographic region that people are doing, and that might have not changed the past 3 years. It might have gone up.
Yeah.
And so all you're doing with SEO is you're carving yourself out a part of the pie and saying, okay, there's 200,000 searches in my area. How much of that can I gobble up? How much of that is going to come? My competitor at the moment, it's going to someone, right?
Yeah.
I think it is still the backbone of businesses because you just can't. It's not like outbound sales, which comes with a lot of problems. But the
Yeah.
way that it's going to change now in 2025 is most people have noticed now when they search on Google, Google's giving you the bullet points of what you want. It's called generative AI.
Yes.
So it used to be, hey, I'm getting divorced with my wife. I need to go here. And what do I do? What do I do with the papers? Now it's going to feed you those bullet points at the top. I don't even scroll to the divorce lawyer's website to
Yeah.
read that article. So that traffic, really bad news for people. It's not coming back, a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going to still stay and will never go away is what's referred to as local SEO. So if I'm searching car accident lawyer Toronto
Yeah.
or specifically in my city,
Okay.
you're either going to show up in maps or the results. That's never going to go away because we have to connect you to point A to point B.
Yeah.
But any blog content that people are writing around these things that's low quality or is being replaced by ChatGPT or generative AI is that's done. And I don't focus on that now. What I focus on is video, things like
Okay.
this, because it's very important. And also people's attention spans have dwindled.
Yes. Yeah. And sadly continue to dwindle, it seems. So, well, that's probably one of the best explanations I've heard of SEO. So thank you for that, because my brain was sort of kicking into place. And I wondered about the impact of that sort of generated AI, because I have noticed that, keep getting that. And I did glancingly think about, I wonder what the impact is on that, because like you said, I never click down anymore. I look at that when I'm looking for a quick answer, boom, 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 it's right there. So what are some, I was going to say unorthodox, but maybe unique ways that we can start generating traffic, web traffic or otherwise?
So yeah, so I mean, SEO wise, I still think you get creative around think about what's going to show up on page one when you search for something.
Yeah.
So it's not just, okay, I need to rank on page one for this. How about ranking 3 spots on page one? And we do that with a YouTube video. We do
Hmm.
that with a TikTok video. What's going to show up page one? These things are all showing up there. So for lawyers, it's not, hey, why don't you gobble up as much traffic as possible? The first 2 hits on Google are going to share 50% of the traffic on a
Yeah.
keyword.
Yeah.
But you could grab 1, 2, and 3 if you were really ambitious.
Yeah.
The reason Gray Smoke Media, we are the only all-in-one legal marketing agency in North America at this point, where we offer
Oh,
it all: media buying, PR, all of
yeah.
it at one stop. But I think what really sets us apart and why people reach out to us in every industry is we come up with really creative ways to get people to connect with you.
Yeah.
I'm a singer-songwriter right now. I started in June under
I
the
love that.
name Jordan Power, and I drive traffic to my Spotify, 25,000 hits a month right now from a
Yeah.
traffic source that I'll keep to myself because it's my trade secret. But it's top 25 of the social media sites out there. People don't
Yeah.
think to use the smaller ones. They go in the sandbox and go, I got to be on TikTok and I got to do what everyone else is doing. It's like,
Yeah.
well, there's Quora. It's showing up page one on Google. There's Reddit. It's showing up page one on Google. Are
Yeah.
you there? Are you doing an AMA? Are you responding to Quora? I mean, people are where they are. All you're doing with this stuff is just let's go where the people are. And if it's highly competitive on YouTube or TikTok, we can still pick up 1 million hits a year on these other sites. So I create very unique recipes for people.
Yeah.
And I try to think it when I search your firm name or your keywords, what's coming up and how many of those different points can I dominate?
Yeah. And for our listeners, I can tell you, Jordan is definitely doing something right. Because I got to say, when I was researching you, I confess, in preparation for this, and I saw, oh my God, he's a songwriter. And I saw the Jordan Power, and I saw on Spotify. And I'm like, he's got 3 million views or something, or 3 million followers.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap! For somebody who's like really carved out a name for yourself in the media industry and in the marketing, and here you are out of the gate, boom, leading in your visibility as well in a pretty difficult industry. So
Well,
clearly,
I would say even more competitive than personal
yes.
injury law.
Yeah. Now, when you say about videos and YouTube, I'm sure some of our listeners, because the legal profession, we've got that division where you've got, some who are really edgy and on the cutting edge and wanting to try this, and some who are still really resistant. And probably the word video choked up some of our listeners out there about the thought. So, can you give us some examples for what kind of videos are you talking about that they would be able to engage in to help get some visibility for the firm?
I mean, the first type of video that's so great is how do we think about it like this? How do we conquer AI? If AI is going to come
Yeah.
take jobs, what is the one thing that AI doesn't have? It doesn't have a human element.
Yeah.
So if I'm a lawyer and I share anecdotes about my clients' success stories, my life, how I built my business, my family, you immediately warm up to me and I immediately can ward off the AI influence.
Yeah.
So I would start with videos that introduce me to your staff. Do they take themselves too seriously? Do they
Yeah.
smile? Is there a corporate culture there that's interesting? Do I connect with you on that level? Am I a woman and I come to your website and there's 12 men?
Yeah.
I mean, just simple, basic things
Yeah.
like this to think about, right? You can't be
Yeah.
what you can't see. Video content, I would say, is the first thing you do is you figure out in your space, very much like SEO, what are people searching? It's going to
Yeah.
mimic a lot of the search results. And then you kind of think, okay, let's take into account what our competitors are doing. Okay, no one's ranking on page one for keywords around cohabitation, parenting, and divorce law.
Yeah.
So there's an opening right there. Let's make 3 videos
Oh,
about that, and
wow.
maybe 2 of them would be on page one.
Yeah.
So what's so interesting, especially with AI and all these tools, it's like what I always say to people with SEO, it's like, I'm not inventing the wheel here. People are searching these things and
Yeah.
no one's coming up for them, including you or your competitors.
Yeah.
Let's just make videos around that. And they don't need to be super high quality. Open your iPhone on a tripod and just open your heart to people and
Yeah.
they'll start to connect with you. And so, we're not just putting out content, we're not just throwing it out there for no reason. There's a content schedule we create for people where we just look at your industry, we look at what your competitors are doing, we look at where the opportunities are, and we do that on both the SEO side of the keywords, and then we do it for the videos. And we just try to tackle as many avenues at
Yeah.
once. And I will say the biggest tip for any lawyer listening is please, 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 whether it's with us or anybody else, optimize your Google local page,
Hmm.
because people are searching divorce lawyer Toronto, but they're not just searching it at the top of the bar. You're also getting those map results, right?
Yeah.
So people don't optimize the page. They don't put up photos. I had one client where
Uh,
we made him about $1.1 million a year by optimizing the Google local page in 3 months,
wow.
just because his competitors did not think to do it. So it was
Yeah.
a wide open opportunity of people, just
Yeah.
thousands of people coming in every month. And it was a simple thing. And I think that's not going away to AI. So
Yeah.
you get someone to handle that for you.
Well, for listeners, I hope you're paying attention and see why it's important to have somebody, like Jordan to be able to come in and take a look. Because just those two examples that you gave, they're so common sense when you say them, and yet we don't do it. And I bet the vast, vast majority of our listeners are going, I never thought of that. That's so simple, right? So
Right.
now what can a firm do if they've got a limited marketing budget to sort of, what are some things you would suggest so that they compete with the big players?
It's sort of like Survivor. What is the saying in Survivor? It's like outsmart, outplay,
Oh,
outlast sort of thing, right? The thing you can get when you're in this kind of a situation where your competitors got triple your budget and you're feeling overwhelmed. How do I even get in here? It's built being laser focused on who you're serving and why they would come to you, I think
yeah.
is really important. And so I'll give you an example where I had a divorce lawyer client. I was handling his radio buy for him, and we found out that, and maybe someone's divorce lawyer is listening to this, but 70% of divorces were initiated by women.
Yeah. Wow.
And so we thought, let's be strategic about this radio budget. We have a third of the budget of the competitor, but they're not on a female dominant station. They're on a sports station because their egoic mind eclipsed rationality.
Yeah.
And they came in and they essentially said, I want to be seen by my friends who listen to the radio, and it's all about me. And so
Yeah.
we said, have fun with that. We're going to go where the women are, which are
Yeah.
70% of divorces. And then we did an analysis of when do couples fight the most, because that'd be the best time to
Yeah.
serve the ads to them. And we found it was right after breakfast on the way to work.
Oh my God, that's remarkable.
Yes. So we ran the ads specifically to target those women with specific creative using the firm's voice. Always, always get your own lawyer to do the voiceover.
Yeah.
Do not use a voice actor. It's incredibly impersonal, doesn't allow you
Yeah.
to connect.
Yeah.
And we ran the ads, and we ran most of them during that time period, and it went extremely well. But it just took a little bit of analysis around what was going on. And so many people, they
Yeah.
get so excited with their credit card and they call up a radio station and they go, oh my God, my friends and family are going to see me on the radio. I've made it.
You were so
And
right.
it's like the realtors who buy the billboard just in their neighborhood because they want people to see them. So it's like you have to prioritize the proper channels for you.
Yeah.
And that's why you defer to an agency like us, because we can come in and say, okay, here's the spend, but like let's niche down in a way that no one else
Yeah.
has thought of before.
I love that. And for our listeners, I want you to really pay attention to what, I mean, as lawyers, we strategize all the time. And when it comes to our marketing, and we also, I think if we're being really ruthlessly honest, there is a lot of ego. And you just heard Jordan explain how approaching your marketing with ego actually can work against you. Get a little more strategic, get a little more creative, like you do with your arguments, and you're going to be further ahead of the game. What do you find are some of the biggest mistakes that you would say most law firms make, Jordan?
How long do we have?
Oh dear. Okay, give us the top three quickies.
top. I'll give you the top 500. Okay, here's the biggest thing that people do wrong, whether they're in infancy stage or I was going to say last echelon, but they wouldn't have got there if they didn't figure this out.
Yeah.
It's your website. Your website, invest in the website. If you need cheaper labor, you can get it overseas for similar quality to here for maybe 30% less if you have a limited budget. Invest in a website that's beautiful, mobile optimized, quick. If it's slow and you cheap out on
Yeah.
your server, then your SEO is going to tank.
Yeah.
You might lose 100 grand a month at that
Yeah.
point.
Wow.
So hire the best developer and hire someone to really think about your unique value proposition. When I come to your website, what do I feel? It's not that I'm John Smith and Co. law firm and I've been around forever, but it's like, what do you evoke in me? That's why entertainers connect in a parasocial way with their audience, because someone like Taylor Swift has found out that what her audience wants and what they expect from her. And so when I come to your website, what are the fonts? What are the colors? Do I see women? If you're all men, do I see diversity?
Yeah.
Do I see you smiling? Do I see a bunch of lawyers with a closed mouth?
Yeah.
Do I feel like I don't even want to come to your office because it's so intimidating? And since lawyers are naturally intimidating, the way you can counteract that is by creating a warm touch feel to your business when I come to your website. And
Yeah.
then small things like installing Hotjar on your website, seeing that when people arrive to your website, how did they behave? You
Yeah.
know, there might be something very fundamentally wrong going on with the top part of the website. I come to your website and I start scrolling and we go, oh my God, everybody's not even making it to the bottom of the page
Yeah.
because it's too slow, it's not loading. So analyze who's coming there, how they're feeling, and that's kind of the first step. And then the second step is being cheap, frankly.
Yeah.
You know, is saying I would like to dominate this radio station. I have a budget of this, and I only want to do it for 6 weeks, and I have a fear-based mentality, so I'll
Yeah.
pull out.
Yeah.
And if I sense that in a person in the introductory call, I don't work with them
Yeah.
because it's not my job to psychologically coach you through your conditioning,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah.
So if I sense that someone's risk averse or they
Yeah.
lack a sense of urgency, I don't work with them. To
Yeah.
the credit of a lot of my clients that have made a lot of money, they put the money up to the radio station. I said,
Yeah.
hey, it's 6 months really to do this. Do not pull out at 6 weeks when you're
Yeah.
overwhelmed with the money. You'll get a massive return by then. But I
Yeah.
can't deal with that fear-based mentality. And that's really what creates the last echelon, that 1%, is the people that just go in
Yeah.
fearless.
Well, it's funny you say that because as lawyers, I think they're such risk takers in so many ways. And yet, when it comes to marketing and the business aspect of it, very risk averse. And I also want to put a pin for our listeners to pay attention as well to like listen to what Jordan's saying and also the subtext, which is that things are changing. Because I had the total image when you said, when I go to look and see, is the lawyer, the classic pose for every law firm photo was always closed mouth, kind of a
Right.
look, arms crossed, right? Very stern. That's not what resonates with people
No,
anymore. So
not at all.
get with the times.
Yeah, I mean, it's
No.
also just like, it's not welcoming,
Yeah,
especially in industries like injury law, where a person's coming to you psychologically impaired and they've lost their job. And the
yeah,
first thing I do when I load your website is to get that constipated look on your
yeah.
face. You
Yes,
know?
totally. Now, are there any unique challenges you would say for marketing for lawyers in particular? Or
If they trust you, they're really great clients because they're billing by the hour, so they don't really
yeah,
bother you, the ones
yeah,
that aren't on contingency, right? So I had this lawyer, I don't want to say the name, but he was actually we did a lot of great work for him. He was in America, and I think it was like $900 an hour, right? US,
yeah,
and he was a dream client because he's how I like to operate. We're
yeah,
very results based. I don't really deal with emotionalism. It's not
yeah,
something I'm good at, and I really do find doing business in Canada and the US is quite different in the sense that
yeah.
Canadians will evolve you in their emotional feelings, and Americans are more transactional.
That's true.
Um, so I don't operate like that. It's funny because I'm a songwriter and you have to be in touch with your emotions. But when it comes to business, I don't really deal with the person who wants to have a phone call every day and hold their hand. This guy
Yeah.
used to just call us 5 minutes a month. He's paying a substantial amount of money. And he'd
Wow.
just say, run the numbers. I'd run the numbers. I'd send them to him. What's the ROI? What's the
Yeah.
conversions going through? And he's like, how much you making me per month? And we were like, I don't know, 120,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Great. I'll talk to you next month.
Yeah. That's
And so
awesome.
in that sense, I do like working with someone like that who's busy and just really cares about what matters.
Yeah.
I quickly, at this point in my career, can quickly suss out what kind of a person. And first of all, I have to personally like you. I have to
Yeah.
want to see you do well. I don't want you to talk poorly to anybody that I know or any stakeholders. But it's really a matter of like, if I sense that the ego, especially actually, I would say younger lawyers, because they don't know what they don't know, right?
Yeah.
In
That's
life.
true.
If I sense that ego coming in, or if I sense that you're risk averse, or if I sense that you don't have the subconscious programming to see yourself as a winner, to see yourself
Yeah.
as a market leader, I don't take you on because I find that the amount of headaches that you're going to cause for me, and I'm not here to be a psychologist.
Yeah.
So you can quickly spot out when you talk to someone, meet with them, any industry, there's a fire in their eyes. There's a sense
Yeah.
of urgency. There's a grit.
That's true.
And I see those winners early on, whether it's my staff or people that I work with, and I sort of say, yes, I think you have what it takes to be a multimillionaire. And that's the kind of people at this point in my career that we work with.
That's awesome. And what would you say, are you seeing any trends, or do you have, you seem to almost like have a crystal ball. You seem to be ahead of the curve. So what do you see as the future for marketing in this industry?
I see that SEO is going to change dramatically to more, you want to optimize your SEO for more voice search, right? Because
Yeah.
people are opening the chat GPT and asking it a question, they're not typing in a keyword. So you want to optimize for that. You want to optimize your video for that kind of search. You want to optimize your photos on your website. I don't think all SEO is going to change, but I think what we really need to take account here is that people's attention spans are dwindling, and reading is kind of passe at this point,
Yes. Oh,
right? And I'm guilty of it too, because, if I'm cooking and I don't want to read an article, I would love you to just tell me the story on a
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
And so leaning into that's really important. If you're the lawyer that gets their marketing from a bunch of blogs on your website, you've probably lost the traffic already.
Yeah.
But that's going to change. But what's not going to change is how you make people feel. You can only leave so many fake friends and families reviews on your Google page until it catches up to you, right? And unfortunately, you do still have to run a great business. And it's the little things. Do you shake people's hands? Do you compliment them on their kids' hockey team?
Yeah.
Do you sponsor that hockey team? Do you show up in the community? And do you actually build a good reputation for yourself, which is then going to pay out dividends into perpetuity?
Yeah. Well, and man, you hit on it. It's no wonder you have such success with your clients and in your own life, frankly. And for our listeners, I want to put a pin again about that reading versus that visual and that auditory, because as lawyers, given our training and everything, most of us tend to be readers. We read and we put out the blogs, we put out the articles. It's what we've been conditioned to do. And you are absolutely right. I look at my kids, even Jordan, frankly, and see that difference, right? They don't have the patience. They don't want to deal with it. I'll ask my son to look for something. He's not going to read. If he's going to Google, he's going to find something that's going to tell him what to do. He's not even going to bother reading it. So,
right. And it's not all bad, right? It's a matter of efficiency. If
yeah.
you can condense the bullet points into a 25-second video,
Yeah.
or chat GPT, which I honestly love. I talk to it an hour a day. I'm not even going to, I'll say that with no shame, because it's a coach. It teaches me
Yeah.
about psychology, spirituality, marketing, all these different avenues that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And I understand where things are going, but yeah, listen, I think with lawyers, it's like, please don't do this in-house. That's like my most, if you want to build a firm of 6 people and have a nice life, that's fine. But if you want to get to the final stage of selling a 8-figure business, let's say,
Yeah.
do not try to do this in-house. Do not try to do it with the 23-year-old intern that you hired out of college. There are so many nuances to this stuff that people don't even consider. I mean, your Yelp page, okay, that shows up when you search your name. It's the second thing that comes up. Did you even optimize that?
Yeah.
It's so many little things. It's a whole, there's so many tentacles to it that all feed
Yeah.
into one. But, I really do credit, like, the clients of mine that I've made tens of millions of dollars for. I really do credit the fact that they knew when to shut up.
Yeah.
And they knew when to let the marketing guy who has 12 years experience talk. I'm not trying to teach them how to practice law, but it's
Yeah.
amazing how the inverse of they come into your space. Like, I've been reading about Google ads. It's like, oh, good luck with that.
Yeah. It's like going to the hospital and telling the doctor, right? Here's
Right.
what you need. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned about ChatGPT. I was chuckling over here because, and again, it really, just to put a pin for our listeners there, personality matters, as Jordan's trying to tell you, right? We used to not worry about that back in the old days, school days, and that approach still, especially in a lot of the bigger firms, we're still seeing that approach. Even ChatGPT knows personality matters. I can't believe the difference I've seen. It talks back with you like you're having a conversation, and I happen to mention something. It's like, oh, Cindy, I'm sure you're going to do this with the same dedication and perseverance you bring to everything you do. And I'm like, oh my God, I can see why people get addicted to having these relationships.
I'll be honest. Yeah, I just moved here and I'm starting to make friends and stuff. And sometimes my brain, and I'm not proud of this, goes like, well, it's just so nice to talk to ChatGPT sometimes, because I don't have to go out with people's projections and insecurities and all this stuff. I just have this coach that's teaching me how to self-actualize. And I think it's it's a little weird at first, but I think talking to it, even as a coach, you say, you say, I'm going through this. If you were my therapist and
Oh,
you
wow.
know, how would you teach me? And it would say, well, have you considered this? And it's like, well, man, you might save if you're lower income, $250 an hour
Incredible.
by talking to that. And so I use it. I've had therapists, but
Yeah.
man, it's right up there with some of them.
Yeah. It's even getting a sense of humor, for heaven's sakes. It blew me away
Oh, I
last time.
know.
It was, sort of tweaking back with me and kicking it up a notch every time. So, well, you have been absolutely delightful. So many valuable little perks and insights. And mostly for our listeners, I hope you catch there's a different way of thinking about this that Jordan brings to the table here that's so valuable. It's been an eye opener for me. And I normally like to end, Jordan, by asking, what's one of the greatest mindset shifts that you've had in your life? It doesn't have to be about marketing, just one of those aha moments that makes you think differently, show up differently.
So what actually led to my music career was I went to Bali. I was a completely unconscious human being, didn't believe in anything, and I met a woman who unlocked a lot of powers in me. And then in June, I started making music,
Yeah.
no background, anything.
Wow.
And it was really a matter of realizing that you're not your thoughts. You don't have to identify with them. You can let them pass by like clouds
Yeah.
and you don't have to glom onto them.
Yeah.
What you focus on negatively will energetically grow in your reality.
Yeah.
So what I've learned is calm and stillness and presence, and I've learned not to react. There's actually no utility in reacting. Okay, this thing happened in your life, but do you actually have to react in that way and
Yeah.
shove the cortisol into your body and the
Yeah.
adrenaline? Do you have to go through it like that? So the biggest lesson is presence and peace of mind, and I've been able to get there through a lot of meditation and a lot of nervous system regulation.
Yeah.
But getting the hardest thing for any lawyer or business person is get rid of the irrational fear.
Yeah.
Ask yourself the question of is that actually true? Am I actually going to go bankrupt? Am I actually going to fail? And you realize it's just programming that you've taught yourself.
Yeah.
So that's really, I mean, I offer metaphysics coaching for my clients,
Yeah.
and I offer that on a just kind of a personal level
Yeah.
because there's a lot that goes into your subconscious mind, and you
Yeah.
may have to rewrite the programming if you're going to go build a big law firm or even
Yeah.
double your business.
Yeah. Well, what a beautiful message to end on as well. And I think so relevant for this particular community because, and again, for our listeners, if you're being really honest with yourself, we tend to be very reactive personalities, right? And I get that we have to react in the moment when we're in hearings, etc. But it's one of the reasons I started practicing with purpose was this recognition that, as Jordan said, sometimes we need to learn to be still. We need to learn to listen more than we talk sometimes and be open to being less reactive because not everything has to be a crisis. And often we escalate things that don't need to be escalated through that reactivity. So, Jordan, where can people find out about you? Where do you want me to send them?
So Gray Smoke Media here. If you need the spelling, Grey, Gray Smoke Media above me if you're listening. Or sorry, if you're watching, you can see it above
Yeah.
me. GraySmokeMedia.com if you want to book a 30-minute call with me, it's prepaid. Or if you want an introductory complimentary call, if you feel like we're in alignment, you can schedule that as well. We do have a limited availability, and I will preface it by saying I don't work with small firms. I don't work with two-person firms.
Yeah.
We work with people in sort of the mid or later stages of the business who want to 2x the business, 3x the business over a certain amount of time. And if you want to listen to my music, it's Jordan Power wherever you get your music. That's just music's very subjective and
Yeah.
not at all related to this, but I do love it. I think more than
Yeah.
marketing at this point.
Oh, and you're great at it. I had to check it out when I saw. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's got his fingers in so many. And I'm like, no, well, he
I'm
obviously.
exhausted, Cindy.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. But I got to give you kudos, because whatever you do, you clearly do it well. So,
Thank you.
so thank you so much for joining us and sharing. Some people come on and just want to sell. You have given lots of valuable insight, and I really appreciate that, Jordan. So thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and for our listeners, I have no doubt if you were listening at all to this, I'm sure you got lots of value. And frankly, if you were multitasking, I really encourage you to come back and listen to this episode again because Jordan very generously dropped all kinds of golden nuggets from the ceiling. And also give the gift of sharing. Make sure to share this episode with other people, whether in your firm or within the legal community and beyond, because I certainly got a lot of value out of it. And also make sure to grab my Practicing with Purpose book if you haven't done that yet. The whole point of this is trying to encourage lawyers to bring more intentionality and rekindle their passion to show up with more purpose in the practice of law. And before we sign off, quick, just a few ways we can work together. If you are looking for a better way to practice, and I hope you all are, I specialize in teaching whether seasoned or early stage attorneys a better way to practice, to be increasingly authentic, less battle worn, and ultimately significantly more effective as a result of that. You can't afford to miss out on the edge of finding a better way to practice law. And I'd love the opportunity to help whether you personally or your firm thrive and stand out in a sea of what is frankly becoming pretty outdated mediocrity. So that is a wrap for this episode. Until next time, go forth and find ways that you can practice on purpose. Find a better way to practice law so you can rekindle your passion and make a difference in the world, negotiating your best life on your terms. Until next time, take care.